Hello. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for finding time and visiting today's webinar. My name is Saganjeet Kaur, and I'm Business Development Manager at DevOps University. Before we start, here are a few ground rules for the webinar. You can go through them. DevOps University is an autonomous organization which promotes DevOps by bringing all the communities together to share the knowledge at a single platform. Please take a minute to read and know more about DevOps University. Our agenda for this evening, for this webinar is Introduction to DevOps. Why DevOps? Who should go for DevOps? DevOps in across the technologies, DevOps roles, career path for DevOps engineer, and then you ask the questions and we answer. Our speakers for tonight are Mr. Naresh R, our first speaker, and then our second speaker is Mr. Deepak Bansal. Mr. Naresh R, he's a principal DevOps practitioner. He has 14 years of IT experience, 10 years of extensive experience in delivering trainings, and expert in DevOps and cloud technologies. Our second speaker, Mr. Deepak Bansal, is co-founder of DevLabs Alliance. He has 18 years of IT experience, he's a technical and thought leader, and DevOps evangelist. Now, not taking much of your time, I would like to hand over this webinar to take forward to Mr. Naresh R.
Before moving to Naresh, I would like to give you a quick slide. Please open this URL in your browser and enter this code, and please share your primary technical skill, so it will help us to serve you better in this session. For revoting, refresh the browser and open menti.com, enter this code and give your technical skill. Please make it fast so we can start our webinar. We need this information to make this session more interactive, and we will try to help you out how DevOps can help you in your current role, in your current technology. Guys, we got a good number. Please keep voting, and I am handovering this to Mr. Naresh. Naresh, over to you.
Okay, so thank you, team. Thank you, Saganjit, and everybody. And welcome, everyone. I do see a great participation here. So welcome, everybody. This is Naresh again, and I'll be the speaker talking about why DevOps and who can take the DevOps and all. So as I can see the skills also, as a lot of people already entered their technical skill, I do see that it's like a wide range of skills, right? So everybody see that it's kind of entire IT automation skill that we have, it starting from the developer standpoint to sysadmin. So we do have a mixed background of people in the session, right? That's what everybody saw as well. That's what we do see. That's great. Great to see you all team again. So what I would say is that, okay, irrespective of your skill, so just try to understand in a general terminology, what is DevOps and why DevOps. So I'll be talking about from very basic, right? It's not like we'll jump onto DevOps directly, but let's try to understand before DevOps what it is there and why we need DevOps. So I would request everybody to listen with a clean mind, irrespective of whatever the technical skill you have it, irrespective of how much experience you have, it doesn't matter. So just start listening. Means maybe I speak something which you may already know about the things, because I'll start from very basic. So please think that you are like a fresh now, and then listen carefully from the first so that you get an understanding by the end of the session today. So that's what I would request everybody. So whatever it is, so let's get into the session without any further delay, right? So as we're discussing team, right, about a DevOps. So before we get into any DevOps terminology or whatever it may be you're hearing about in the market, let's start from a very, very basic definitions of something that every IT engineer or every software engineer listens in his job role every day. Now that is what team you see it, something called as this one, right? Something called as a server or an application. So let's try to understand these two terms first of all, team. This is very much important for anybody to understand these two terms, why we use these two things basically, or how you will use this thing every day today, right? Now the servers are very simple things, team. A computer, nothing but you call it. It can be a virtual machine, or it can be a physical server, or it can be your laptop also. Anything, a certain hardware, right? You have it and you just install the things on it. That's what you do it. So that's what is some server, team. You can think about it. Normally the servers are used to install an application, right? That's what you do it. And then on top of it, you normally run your application accordingly, right? Just like you take your laptop and you install MS Office and you use it. Now that's what we call it as a server. In simple words, I can say it. In real time, team, we normally use this things to host an application, whatever it can be an application, right? We normally use a different types of applications here. So talking about the different types of applications, team, normally we have something called as a desktop applications. Desktop applications are usually we have something hosted on your laptops like MS Office or calculator application. These are called as your desktop applications. But in real time, team, we do use something called as a web application, right? Now, web applications are something which you access over the web, nothing but an internet. You have it, right? Like any website that you access is normally called as a web application, right? So in terminology, team, how do we host these web applications to make n number of people access the same website? Is that by using something called as a web server, like a people do and about something called as a web servers or application servers. We normally take a computer and we install something like a web server technology, like maybe an Apache or maybe a Tomcat that you normally do about it. Now you host your application, right? Now we do have desktop applications. Those are single user applications, we call it. We do have web applications. Those are called as normally the multi-user applications, or n number of people can access the same application at any point of given time, and wherever you are in the geographic location, you normally access them accordingly, right? Now the whole point is that, team, how do we run these web applications? That is what we revolve around most of the time in every organization, right? So we think about running these kind of web applications. So how do we host them? Nothing but we take a server and we host them. But how do we ensure these applications are available for the end user as they are, right? Now, in order to run this one, team, we'll come back to this application architectures again, but there are something called as a monolithic architecture or a three-tier architecture. Now you have maybe the microservices architecture. So there are many things in the market that is going on. The current trend is about microservices architecture. People are going towards, but these are the standard old architectures that we used to use it to make your application function. But let's say that before we go into this architecture side, so let's get into a little bit more here. Now I would like to start with a basic definition, like everybody may be knowing this one, but let's start with this definition again. So what is software engineering in general words, right? A software engineering team in general words, we say that it is an approach towards the development, operation, and maintenance of a software, right? So anything application you're developing is called as software also, whether it can be a web application or a normal desktop application. They're all known as softwares for us. So we work towards something called as development, operation, and maintenance of a software. That is what the end goal we are looking at according. So, and again, if we talk about the goal of a software engineering, it is that to deliver an efficient and reliable software product to the client or to the market or to the end user, you may think about it. Now, this is what we need to think about, or we do it, right? So every software engineer team is working towards this goal. Try to understand that whatever the role you may be in, you can be a developer or a QA or a sysadmin. The end goal of an organization, keep that a software to be delivered to the end user. Keep that goal in the mind. And now in order to focus on this goal, in order to make this goal work, basically, we follow some processes inside your organization. So we started evolving something called as SDLC, right? Now, what exactly SDLC is, most of you know it already, which is famously known as software development lifecycle. Now, SDLC also talks about team because we need a process, we need a guidelines or rules to make this software development goes in a smoother way. We designed a process. That process talks about how do we plan, create, test, and deliver a software to the end user again, right? Now, this is what is the goal team of SDLC also. SDLC is similar to software engineering only, but it's more of written rules and regulations which you want to follow it to develop and operate and maintain a software that you're going to do it. So again, the aim remains same thing, to produce a high quality software to meet the customer expectations. The end goal is to deliver it and meet the customer expectations. Again, already that is the same goal remains constant. So in order to make this happen, team, what are the, so over the years, again, we've been working on the IT industry for years now, I think for decades, mostly 3 decades we are working on. Now, how this process is getting changed over the years, that is what's very much important for us. So the first and foremost, SDLC model, everybody did follow something called as waterfall. Now, waterfall is that everybody know of, but let's say that a new phase in the development process begins only if the previous phase is complete. Think about from the requirement gathering till the maintenance of a software, right? Every stage has to be completed before you start the next stage in it. Now, this way of delivery method team takes a very much longer time. For example, if the client gives me the requirement 6 months back, by the time I give the product to the client, it may take 6 months or 1 year, sometimes based on the requirement you get it, you will take a longer time according. So the time to market is very high, right? And there's also one problem here is called as no client interaction. Once we finish gathering the requirement, we hardly interact with the client. That is what is there. And the requirements are rigid, means that once requirements are taken and once we freeze the requirement, we don't allow to change any requirement until we deliver the same requirement to the client again, right? So which again, the kind of thing we have with the client may not like it, because the client changes after 3 months something. We say that, okay, you have to complete this one first of all, then we'll come back and take your new requirement. Now that way of talking to a customer is always makes an unhappy customer or unhappy client basically. So we had these challenges basically in the waterfall method, right? We did had it. Again, team, the goal here, if you think about it, the delivery of the software from the development to the maintenance or whatever it is from the time you deliver to the client, it is taking very, very long time, right? And we are in a world right now, we are in 2020 right now, where we expect everything to be fast delivery. In fact, even if you order something in Amazon, you expect the delivery to be immediately delivered, right? Now we are expecting more immediate deliveries, and that is applicable for even delivering a software into the market as well. Now that is where the waterfall goes unfit in the current trend, so people are not following, of course. We changed this from this method to long ago, but we still have something. The next method, team, we will talk about it, but before that one, you may think that there are few terminology that you need to be aware of. A waterfall is the development process, we did it. Monolithic architecture applications are heavyweight applications basically, since most of the components are tightly coupled in this architecture. Think that you are bundling a huge amount into a single box and delivering it, so it becomes a heavyweight applications are hard to deliver or move it basically. That's what the main problem with monolithic architecture. And the physical servers are nothing but your computers, just like your laptop. They get huge resources definitely, but we cannot guarantee that resources utilized by the physical servers are 100% utilized. So there is a lot of resource wastage may occur in the physical servers. So we have to ensure we use the compute power adequate, most effectively. Then only we can have a good business results as well, right? Now we need to place, or we also need a place team to place your physical servers or computers to run your application. Now that place we used to call as a data center, right? A data center is like a place for every organization. It is kind of a building or a place where your organization keeps all the hardware and ensure that the servers in that room are always running it. Maybe a power backup, maybe a cooling pit temperature maintained for the servers, a network backup, a backup for backup, whatever it is necessary to run your servers always up and running. To maintain that one, that entire maintenance is taken care by your organization by putting them into a single place. That thing we call it as a data center. So this is the first era team evolution of IT, we call it, where we had everything is heavyweight. When I say monolithic architecture applications are heavyweight, physical servers are also heavyweight. Purchasing, building physical servers is a very huge task and most costlier effort also we have it. and maintenance of your entire data center is also much costlier if we had it. So we are spending a lot, but we are not getting a good income back. That's what it is. Return, ROI, we call it, return on the investments. We're not getting this much good, but we need to improvise on this one. So we changed from waterfall to the next one, that is your agile. Like most of you know it, right? So most of you see that this is what is you call it, agile, right? The current trend, or most of the people might be working on the agile process. So let me explain this agile in a quick way, team, how exactly it is different from the waterfall, right? Now in the waterfall team, we go a step-by-step approach, right? A requirement gathering, implementation, design, uh, testing, and that is a step-by-step approach we had it. But here we do not follow that approach. Instead, we see that, okay, instead of taking all the requirement, let's see that we take the requirement a step by step. A few requirements are taken, worked out, and delivered it. So it is called as an incremental update, right? So we follow normally a step by step approach rather than taking the whole requirement. Let's say that the product owner talks to the client, takes the requirement, but out of that requirement, whatever he gets it, let's prioritize a few things which is needed by the client. Now those things are called as normally the user stories here. The user stories are nothing but a task that you want to implement, a feature that you want to deliver it to the client immediately, rather than delivering the whole product at a time. We deliver the product feature by feature, or one at a time. Whatever the features you want to deliver it, you deliver it in that approach. So that's me that we are regularly interacting with the client. That's what happens. See that whenever you prioritize the user stories, and we also follow something called as a sprint model here. A sprint is normally a timeline that you have it. A sprint is a timeline. Let's say that we at the start of the requirement, we take some requirement and we do a sprint planning. The sprint planning, we decide that, okay, sprint going to last for 1 week to 1 month, or mostly we go for 2 weeks time. Let's say that, or 14 days. Now there is a team who picks up these user stories. Now the team has to deliver the feature, the work they assigned it, within the 2 weeks time, right? By the end of the sprint time, you have to show the results to the client. That's what is the main thing that happens here. So you have a deadline, right? You have a goal to achieve it within the timeline given to you. That is what the main method we follow it here. Now there is a guy called a scrum master, or maybe she or he, whatever it may be. The scrum master responsibility here to track the work from the team members regularly. So he or she hosts a call every day that we call it as a daily sprint call, or a daily stand-up call, right? That is what we do it. So there we will be answering 3 questions. What did you do yesterday, or what are you going to do today? Do you have any problems in implementing the work that is assigned to you, right? So we discuss these questions regularly so that we get a continuous feedback from the team members. And the same thing has been passed on to the client also. There is a regular interaction with the client, which was not there with the waterfall. That's happened. Now, once you reach the end of the sprint, if you are done with your work, fantastic. You just demo it immediately to the client, right? This is like we are showing to the client, okay, what it is looking like, and is it developed as per the requirement or not. So there is a regular interaction with the client, and we are also getting a continuous feedback from the client to make it much better. Basically, that's what is happening. So that is what you do it at the end of the sprint. So the client likes it, good, we'll move on to the next environment. Now the client does not like it, let's say that we'll reiterate the same thing, or we'll re-implement the same thing with all the client changes required. Now that's how we are making a client satisfied most of the time. So we are able to deliver, or we are able to develop the feature by feature, so we'll be able to deliver it a little bit faster also. Maybe with waterfall we took 6 months to deliver it. Maybe let's say that with agile process, we have an incremental update feature by feature. Let's say 10 features are ready, deliver it to the client, right? So the client will be seeing a few features in the application. He will be happy to see it. He'll be happy to work on them, use that application accordingly. But we slowly update or increase, or whatever it is you have it, the feature by feature. Now that is the main method we have it, right? So it is necessary that it is a continuous testing also needed within the agile, right? Because every feature that you develop it must be tested before you give it to the client. That is mandatory again. Without testing an application, we cannot give it to the client, right? How do you ensure an application is perfectly designed or perfectly working fine before you deliver it to the client? So we did demo it, but once we demo it, we also start testing it to ensure that it behaves the same way that it is in the development to the production environments accordingly. Now that is what we see this one team. This is the slide that depicts your entire agile. It is also called as an incremental model, where it will help you to deliver an application a little bit faster. With agile, with waterfall, we had a 6 months or 1 year delivery. With agile, we are reducing that to 2 months. The goal remains same thing here, team. Think about it. The goal is to deliver an application into the hands of the customer. So we are slowly improvising on that to ensure these applications are maintained and delivered to the end user accordingly. Now we also improvised it. We know that the monolithic architecture where we had various infrastructure components which were holding us to deliver it also sometimes they are heavyweight. Now we need to improvise on the technology. The technology is also getting improvised it. So we started working on agile and we splitted a monolithic architecture into n-tier architecture, which means that we started splitting out the business logic, client logic, and the database logic into different components and started hosting them on different servers and connect them through the network, right? Now that is what main thing team. So when you split them, when you decouple them, various components of your application, now obviously your application logic becomes a little lighter weight, right? So that you have your application can be delivered in a little faster way to various servers accordingly to host it faster way. Now that is what we do it. That is how the entire architecture has helped us, move application a little faster and maintain it better way and troubleshoot the issues in a better way. Everything got improvised a very good way. Now we also started converting physical servers into the virtual servers. That is also one of the thing we had it. Now the virtual servers are something team. They are all computer driven or a software driven computers you call it. Let's say that on top of a single hardware. In a general example, I'll tell you like physical server is like you have a 10,000 square feet of area, right? And you are building only a single apartment in it, right? Now, what happens if I do that? So now I and my family are 5 members. I live in a space of 10,000 square feet. Now, how much you can guarantee that I will be utilizing all the space in my home very much effectively? It is not really going to be a very good effective usage of the entire space that I have given. Now that is like your physical server. So you waste a lot of resources, you waste a lot of energy and everything to make sure that you're using whatever needed, right? Now the same thing that if you convert it, let's say that the 10,000 square feet of area, now I converted that into 10 different flats by dividing them. Let's say that 1,000 square feet for each flat. Think about it, we are building 10 different flats in a same space, right? And think about it, each apartment or each flat can be given to an independent or individual family. Now every family can live in the same space. Now there are 10 different families living in the space and they are all utilizing the resources very much effectively. They can maintain each flat easily also because the efforts are being less for every family to maintain a lesser area, right? And you get a benefit of utilizing more effective resources on your things, right? That is what we can say it. Now, in order to access any virtual servers, you normally use just like any computer only, right? You just normally use any computer. How do you log in? The same way they will also enable a desktop or a login. You just connect to them over the network, as simple as that, right? So that is what we call it as a virtual server team. That is what we call it as a virtual server. So simply think that the same physical server, think that on your laptop itself team, I'm not sure how many of you used like VMware VirtualBox or Oracle VirtualBox or VM Workstation, and you start creating a multiple virtual machines on the same physical hardware. So the virtual computers are like splitting your hardware resources into a smaller computers. That is what we call it as a virtual server. We create it on the same physical box so that you have a better resource utilization, and maintaining the software driven computers are very much easier than creating a physical server. No cost involvement come into the picture, right? Now these are the various things that you get an advantage over the virtual servers. That's what you do it, and we started using the virtualization technology, and that brought us a lot of advantages in the meantime. right? I think we're still using the virtual servers. We are still going to use the virtual servers only. There is no question about it. 100% we need the virtualization to ensure we use all the compute resources in an effective way. Now, those are virtual servers team. We had it. We converted physical into virtual servers, so we get a better thing, everybody. Now, we also started, right? So we also started using a data center to the hosted data centers, right? So the hosted data centers are like, let me give you a simple example, right? Let's say that maybe a data center, let's say that you compare with your kitchen, right? You keep a goal of making your tummy full. Say that if you want to build your own kitchen, you want to put all the results or utensils, whatever is needed, buy a stove and buy the vegetables, cook it yourself and eat yourself. That is the goal, right? And the goal is to make tummy full. So you are putting a lot of efforts to make it happen. The data center is like your own kitchen where you want to run it, right? So data center like your own place where you want to run your application. That's what is a data center. Now, what is a hosted data center is like, let's say the goal same remains same thing. I would like to run my application, or let's say I would like to make my tummy full. Now I can go to a hotel and I can order a meal and I can make my tummy full, as simple as that. Think that hosted data center is also kind of a place. It's a third party data center. Think about it, where you go and order a server. Say that instead of ordering a mail, you're ordering a server. Hey guys, I need 10 servers to run my application. Can you give me? So they will prepare it. How they prepare it, where they prepare it, it doesn't matter for you. You don't need a maintenance. You just pay for those 10 servers and you start using them accordingly. That's called as a hosted data center, not within your own data center, but it is like a data center maintained by a different company. You go to them, you order something, let's say that I need to rent some servers, 10 or 20 servers. They will prepare everything, they will maintain the data center, they will ensure everything is up and running. Now you just use the servers and you pay for what you use it accordingly. What we call it as that's what we call it as a hosted data center, basically. Right. So virtual servers are, see, there is a cost involved in it. The licenses are required to create your virtualizations. I agree with that. Right. Definitely you need it. A vCenter license is definitely required, but I'm saying that instead of building 10 physical servers, right, I can build 10 virtual servers on the same physical hardware. That will be easy for me. That's what I meant, and it is easy to create the servers. Okay. Of course, vCenter license is there, but creating 10 virtual servers or 10 physical servers will put you more cost than building 10 virtual servers on a single thing. That's what I can tell you. Right. So this is what it is. The second stage, which I call it as IT evolution. Now we do see this one team. Everybody, we are in this world basically where we are working on these stages, definitely. Now this is the main problem team that we still have it with virtualization, right? Whatever you see it in the second evolution of it. I'm not sure how many of you see this problem, right? This is like worked fine in development and not working in production environment, like ops problem now. Think about this one team. When you deliver an application is getting built in a development environment where the developer builds an application mostly. Now he deploys in the development environment where it absolutely works fine. Now he will ask other teams. Once in real time, the development team does not run application in a production like environment. Now when he hand over this application to a different team, we usually call them as operation team. The operation team try to deliver it or deploy it in the production where it stops working, correct? Now that's what is where the problem starts, right? Now let's say that once he deploys in the production, it stops working it. Now he will open a bridge call, like an outage call, whatever you say it, right? The production outage call, people do call it. Now where they start discussing about why it is not working, all this stuff, different teams comes into the picture, like middleware team, right, or a database team or a networking team. These are all the operation teams basically who will run the application in a production like environment, right? We try to ensure we troubleshoot everything, but we couldn't find anything, and we finally call the developer. Developer comes to the call and says that let me test it. He will test the application again in the development environment. He says that application working absolutely fine in the development. If it is not working in production, that's your problem, right? Simply, he blames the operation team for delivering it or deploying it to production, where they doesn't know anything what they're doing it. Now the problem arises there, right? Now that is the main problem team here. Think about it. So application works fine in development, but does not work in production. So where is the mistake? Now, because team, think about it, the developer server is like a playground. He might be making a lot of changes to make sure application is working fine. But did he give all those configuration changes also to the operation team, right? Okay, he did give it. That's fantastic. But the operation guy forgot to update in the production. Now, that's what causes production issues basically most of the time. Now, how would you resolve the problem? Now, here you need to understand, team, the problem here is that application does not work in production, but we waste a lot of time, because if the application is not working in the production, the end user is the one who faces the issue, like a client like me, right? So think about it. Think about it, how to resolve this issue. Instead of resolving this issue, basically, the first of all, operation teams blames the development team that it's a dev issue. Developer team blames the operation team. It says that it's an operation issue. Now, this is the common problem that every IT engineer sees it, right, in a regular day-to-day activities. I hope you all guys also see this problem. I believe most of you do see this problem, right? Now, this is a very, very common problem team. We need to address this. If you try to understand one common point here, like there are two different teams. One is called as developer teams. One is called as operations teams, right? There is no collaboration between these guys, basically. That's the main problem, is also causing the delivery issues to the end user. Now, as I said, the goal should be the delivery should be faster to the end user. That's what we are expecting more and more. With Waterfall, again, we took 6 months, and with Agile, we are taking at least 3 months to deliver an application to the client. But why are we delivering in 3 months? Why can't we deliver it every time whenever a feature is ready, right? That is the main goal, this one team. That is where we talk about something called as DevOps. Now think about this one team. We're still not satisfied with the delivery speed. That is the main problem we have it. We're still talking about it. So we want to ensure that application is delivering to the client at a much faster rate than we're doing with the Agile right now. That is what is expected. So we are talking about something called as continuous integration, continuous delivery, where everything need to be happening continuously, right? So that is what the main goal team that we are working towards. Means we are not satisfied till I'm saying it, we are not satisfied still with the application delivery that is happening in every 3 months. Now we are expecting that. Why are we holding for 3 months? Let's say that my feature is ready today. Why aren't we delivering today itself? Why are we holding it to make sure multiple features are getting ready, right? So there are many things, team, that we need to take into the consideration. That is where now the DevOps problems, right? That is where we talked about already. The developer team and operation team does not collaborate, or they don't know each other. In other words, I can say it, where we are delivering or we are delaying the application delivery process. And there could be many other challenges also, team. Hope you all know about something called as a maintenance window or a release window, right? People do talk about the client have a specific maintenance window in which only I need to deploy my latest version or a new feature, right? Like we say that on a Saturday midnight 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. is the approved client window. During that time frame itself, we just want to deliver application, or during the weekdays, you are not allowed, or client does not approve any of the application deployment into the production during the weekdays. Now, why he is doing it? Because when you deliver an application, we cause a downtime to the end user, which means end user may not be able to access application. That is the main problem. Of course, he get it right. Now that is where team, without, if you guarantee that without giving any downtime to the end user, if you can deliver an application, he definitely says okay. But the current things we still have is that without the downtime, we cannot deliver an application. So we need to eliminate that dependency of downtime. So we want the no downtime applications to be delivered or deployed. We need to resolve the collaboration issues that we have with the developer teams and operation teams. We need to resolve it. So in order to resolve these things, teams, still we had problems with Agile team. It's fantastic. We are working absolutely great. but we still have a lagging in some things. That's what we want to improvise it. Now that is where we are moving on to the DevOps model. A DevOps model is going to help us, deliver an application continuously with a CI/CD pipelines. Now, along with that, we do have something called as a collaboration challenge that also need to be resolved to ensure your application delivery goes smoother into the production-like environment, right? Now, if you ask me, team, what exactly is DevOps, right? Think about it. DevOps is not a technology team. Do not think in that direction. DevOps is mainly a process, right? If you ask me what is DevOps, so one definition which I would like is that DevOps is a reorg, not a new team to hire. Now, this is the primary intention of a DevOps team, try to understand, which means that DevOps or teams are already present. You have various teams that are working in your project, starting from the development till the production. There are various teams already there, but they do not know each other. That's why we are getting a bigger problem of delivering or delivering into the production basically. Now that is where team we say that reorged, right? Means that first of all, make them know each other. That's what we're saying, that regroup them into a single team, saying that you're all part of the single team. Set them is a common goal. That's what we expected. Now, if you ask me the more technical definitions, team, think about it. So DevOps is agile IT operation delivery required to match the cadence of agile IT development. Okay, what exactly this means is again. Now with Agile, we're following something called as incremental model, where we are continuously interacting with the client. We are able to get continuous feedback from the client, but who are involved here, right? Now the developer team, QA team, or the clients are the one who regularly talks in your daily Scrum call or Scrum meeting. That is what the people involved. So, but where is the operation team here, right? So what DevOps tells us is that you bring the agile into the operation side also, which means that we want everybody who is part of the project to be attending the same Scrum meeting. Now, when you bring everybody into the same Scrum meeting, now the operation team does come to know what client is requesting, that they can understand about it. Now the developer team knows who is the operation team, or operation team knows who is the developer team, so what they are working on. So you're bringing a transparency between all the teams so that everybody knows each other. When you know each other well, you work together well, and you get achieve the goals also easier way. Now that is what we call as team. So we bring in agile into the operation. That's what we call it as DevOps. Now don't think like we are replacing agile with DevOps team. There is no replacement option here, like we did from Waterfall to agile was a replacement. No, here we are not replacing agile. We are extending the agile into the operation team side. That is what we call it as DevOps, develop teams and operation teams working together, right? That is what we call it. So there is another definition, team, if you read about it. DevOps is the philosophy of unifying development and operations at a culture, practice, and tools level to achieve accelerated and more frequent deployment of changes to the production, right? Now, this is the goal, team. Again, the goal remains same thing. We want to deliver an application into the production with more accelerated deployment numbers. Like let's say that if I'm doing in 3 months one time, within the 3 times I want to do 6 times, maybe 8 times. Like every week you do it, every 2 weeks you do it. We want to increase the pace of delivery to the production. The features need to be delivered immediately to the client rather than waiting at the development stage itself. That is what the main goal, team, you can understand about it. Now, again, if you think about it, the first goal of a DevOps is that a culture that you need to be brought in between the developers and operation. The culture will definitely set some goals and practices for you. And DevOps is a revolutionary movement by practitioners and for practitioners. Practitioners are nothing but the DevOps engineers, nothing but your regular role, whatever you're working on. You can think that you are also a DevOps engineer in a role that you are working in already, right? So in a simple words, team, if you talk about the DevOps goals again, the goal of the development team is to deliver the features into the hands of customer as quickly as possible. So their goal is speed, but the goal of the operation team is to maintain stability of the system and minimize the downtime, right? Think about team developer has a single goal, speed, but the operation team have a double goal, which is achieve the speed that also maintain the stability, Means that if I ask you to run faster, doesn't mean that you need to fall down in between immediately because of you couldn't handle the speed. That's not how it will be, right? You have to do it. So stability and the speed of delivery must be there. And time to market, yes, that is what we're looking at it. More increased deployments into the production. No production failures doesn't make any sense. We can fail. Nothing wrong in failure always. We should fail it, no more, better things accordingly. But do not make the same mistake again and again. That becomes a problem. Failure is different, problem is different, right? Failure is that it happens without any reasons. That is what happens. But the problem is that it is repeating the same failure again and again. That's what I call it. Of course, you can fail, but how quickly you can roll back, how quickly you can recover it. This tools applies for the real time as well as your application delivery team. You may think about in any direction. That's your choice. And finally, team, we say that there is no wall in DevOps culture, right? So what do you mean by no wall? That every team who are working towards the same project, starting from the developer team, build team, database team, networking team, middleware teams, everybody should know each other. Everybody have a flexibility of knowing what's going on other side. Earlier, we used to have walls in between, or a silos, we call it, right? So now we are eliminating those walls, or that is the main goal of the DevOps event. Eliminate those walls so that everybody can look into everywhere and understand everything, and that makes the better results always. That's what you need to understand, team. This is the main goal of a DevOps. Now, again, to achieve these things in the current market, we need speed again. That's what we're talking about again, speed and speed. So when you talk about a speed, the more lightweight you are, the more faster you can move it. So we have microservices architecture, more loosely coupled components that helps to move faster way and communicate in better way. Containers are the latest technology which helps us host an application in a better way to resolve the problem of not working in dev and working in production. That is mainly resolved by the containers, and it also brings us the faster delivery. Build anywhere, ship anywhere, and run anywhere. That's what comes up with the containers. And of course, cloud, everybody knows about it. Now the cloud is a trending technology. Like, you get anything, anytime, anywhere. That is what the main goal of the cloud, you get it, which means it is also kind of a renting model, like a hosted data center only. But if you compare the cloud, it is like your online food delivery, like kitchen, hotel, and then your online food delivery. Now, what are the advantages do I get with the online food delivery? You sit at your home, you make an order on your favorite restaurant, somebody will go there, picks up, and they deliver it to your home, and you set your home and you enjoy your meal, right? That is what you get it basically. Now the cloud is also like that. You sit at your home and you control the entire your infrastructure which is needed to run your application. That is what is cloud basically. And cloud also has a pay as you go model. Whether you, whatever the services you use it, you pay for that much only. So it is very much cost effective when you go for an automation side completely. That's where you get an advantage of making more benefits out of your business that you do it, right? Now this is what it is, team. We call it as DevOps, which is expected out of it, a microservices and containers and cloud, which brings us immediate efficiency, immediate results without you being owning anything, right? That is what the main thing you get it here. Now, this is the main advantage of the evolution of team. That's where we are in right now. DevOps is something you get it like this, right? Now, if you talk about this one team, the main goal again with the DevOps, we are expecting with Waterfall, you deploy once in 6 months. With Agile, we deploy once in 3 months. With DevOps, we are expecting a delivery every 2 weeks or every 1 week. In fact, whenever there is a feature ready, do not wait for other things to get ready. Deliver the feature immediately. How you do it again? You build a robust system that will help you deliver it without any downtime to the end user. Again, make sure that, which I mean saying that we have to deliver it immediately, it doesn't mean that you need to give the downtime to the end user every week, every day, whenever deployed. That is not, should not happen. You have to deliver an application without any downtime to the end user. That is what the main purpose behind it accordingly, right? Now, why DevOps again, team? I think that's what is all about DevOps. Why it again? The goal of the DevOps, how does it help us? So why DevOps again, team, if you think about it? Nowadays, everybody needs a faster delivery, those who ever need it. So every organization looking for the same goals and trends. So everybody is adopting the DevOps. So there is a much needed DevOps engineers. Don't think like a DevOps engineer is a different person. The way a role you are in, basically you're already a DevOps engineer. You just need to have a clarity on the role that you're doing it accordingly. But there's a lot of growth in the DevOps engineer side. That's what you need to all have an idea. Thinking about it, why DevOps again team? If you think about it in a simple words, right? Let me tell you that it improves the quality of the software enabled by automation. We are talking about delivering faster, so we are talking about continuous integration, continuous delivery, and that can be achieved with an automation only. So we talk about automation most of the time in your DevOps. So automating everything will definitely improve the quality of the software. So improved monitoring and quicker service discovery or service recovery. Of course, again, that is also can be achieved with the automation. Quick turnaround and change request, that's what we discussed. Greater synergies between the development, testing, and operations. As I said, it is needed mostly. That is a reorg, we call it. The first goal of the DevOps is to reorg your entire automation into a single team rather than a different teams working on silos, basically, right? Continuous delivery and iterative development, that is what we're following already. And reduced operational cost because of the cloud also. That's what we do it. Right, this is what you see it. And who should learn DevOps team if you try to understand? Just give me some more time, team. We'll complete this one and then we'll come back to your question and answers, everybody. So please hold on your questions for a minute. Right, so here I'm talking about who should learn DevOps team. Again, it is like software developers or testers or IT ops, release engineers, those whoever or whatever the role you are in team, every role in IT organization, as we understood, a DevOps engineer is the one who is already working in IT industry. Whatever the role that you are working in, it doesn't matter. Now you are called as DevOps engineer rather than calling as a single specific role. That is what you say it. Everybody is a DevOps engineer contributing their roles and responsibilities. So everybody needs to learn DevOps, how it works and what it works basically according. So that's what we say it. Everybody who is already part of your IT organization can be called as a DevOps engineer. Just that your roles and responsibilities will be segregated more and you will be given a more scope to understand other parts of your project. That's when you become a more DevOps engineer by collaboration. So if you're working as a DBA so far, you might have to collaborate with other teams, then you are a DevOps engineer, right? Do not work in silos anymore. Try to explore through your project and try to know end-to-end life cycle of your project. That's what we call it as DevOps, okay? So, and DevOps is across all the domains. It doesn't matter which domain you are in, from the automotive to the travel, hospitality, healthcare, insurance, because everybody is dealing with the applications. Wherever there is a software involved, there is a DevOps involved. So every industry is dependent on the software, definitely. Without a software, they cannot run their day-to-day business 100%. So wherever there is a software installed, wherever there is a software involved for day-to-day business, definitely that is involved in this one. So every domain in the current industry, you have it. So everybody falls under the DevOps itself. It doesn't matter which domain you are in. Okay, that's one thing I can tell you. Okay, now DevOps is all the technologies. It doesn't matter. Again, we are working about the application delivery or application accessing, right? So again, you're talking about any application developed in any technology falls under the DevOps again. It doesn't matter whether you are in Java, .NET, or data science, or even a mainframes. It doesn't matter about it. So you have to have an idea about what is DevOps and how it works. Then you can fit into the current market, and then you can improvise yourself on what needs to be done according to your project. That's what I can tell you. Now, apart from this one, DevOps roles. We are talking about DevOps now. I said like everybody is a DevOps engineer, right? But think about it, who is can do what are the different roles on the DevOps you have. So DevOps evangelist, we call it, is in the top level, entirely on the business side, a business operator. You think about a business analyst on the top of VP kind of stuff. They are called as DevOps evangelist. Now you have a DevOps architect who designs your product completely end to end. DevOps developer who implements it, DevOps quality engineer who tests it, software, and then DevOps operations engineer who are maintains your application across various environments, deliver it to the production. This is called as operation engineer. And DevOps security engineer, of course, you have a security involved anywhere. So anybody team, whoever working on the project, everybody fits into these roles already. Maybe you are called as a simple developer earlier, now you're called as a DevOps developer. Earlier you might be a QA analyst, QA, now you are called as a DevOps quality engineer. That's the only thing, is that they are changing the designation. Your roles and responsibilities remain same thing, and given a better scope to learn more things. Do not stick yourself into a single role anymore. That is not going to work out anymore. You have to explore yourself and learn multiple things and show up your skill at least on a couple of technologies, not on a single technology like you're working earlier, right? That is what the main understanding you need to have it. So again, career path, we can start with various technologies that you need to understand. There are various sections of a software end-to-end life cycle, starting from the development till the operations, right? Where we need to host, how we need to run. So that shows everything. CI/CD, right? Docker and containers are the one which is going to rule the next 10 years for sure. So you have to understand about the containerization 100%. A configuration management or an infrastructure as a code is required to ensure more minimalistic, operations cost that gets killed with the cloud environment accordingly. Nagios and Splunk, which is to maintain your infrastructure and application availability and stability. That is what we call it. So all these things are done, and the cloud is, of course, provides you the immediate results. You need to have all these things basically, and keep exploring team. There are many things that comes under. Depends on the organization, people may change it. Now this is what all we talk about, what is needed for a DevOps engineer, right? Now this is on the top level only team, but when you go for a course like with us, and then we'll be giving a more in-depth knowledge of everything that we're going to talk about it. But this is just a complete overview of what is DevOps and why DevOps in the current market is booming up accordingly. That's what you can understand. But here team, I'll stop here, and if you have any questions, you can start putting your questions now. We are open for your questions. We can answer all of your questions accordingly. Right, please go ahead and start dropping your questions. So approximately how many requirements or stories will be deployed in each DevOps cycle? Okay, that depends on your project, Anandi. It is not that this is the specific number I need to do it, but DevOps tells that even if it is a one story that is ready to be delivered, you deliver it immediately. Maybe a couple of stories. Let's say you worked on few stories in a single sprint and you want to deliver all of them. Think that it is like a sprint model, right? So every sprint you deliver something, whatever it is ready. You have to be ready in a position to deliver that to the production, not just demo to the client. That's what I can say it. Are certification for all DevOps roles available? Okay, so certification side, not all of the roles available yet. People are working on it. People do get it accordingly, but we need to go through that, what you're looking for, then we can provide the more necessary information. Right, so can a BA become DevOps operation engineer? Yes, of course, Anupam, you can be engineer. Okay, so how much regression required in every delivery cycle? Will this be challenging in a manual testing? Of course, right, Anandi, again. So when you're talking about delivery in every cycle, it needs a regression 100%, because you know what is regression already. A regression is mandatory, so we need to automate. Forget about manual testing in a DevOps. You always have to automate everything. Talk about automation testing in DevOps always. We do not do a manual testing anymore. I mean, I say that you still be doing it, but it is recommended, or DevOps say that automate it, because regression is that you repeat the same thing. Wherever you see a repetitive things, you must do, automation. That's what I say it. Can a non-technical person coming from a quality assurance process, USM, Six Sigma, CSM, get into DevOps career? Absolutely, you can get in soon. Depends on your interest. You can go for it 100%. There's no question about it. Automation. So in a long team, DevOps becomes a rare or minimal. Will DevOps will become a rare or minimal? So of course, DevOps is all about automation, Rajal, right? So it becomes rare? No, it does not become rare because the requirements are completely getting you every day to day. So you will be there always, not a minimal, not a rare things. It is a continuous process. We always have it. In DevOps role, coding part also mandatory for DevOps engineer, not really for us, as we discussed about it, what your roles is written. If you are a DevOps developer, maybe a development is required. If you are a DevOps quality engineer, that's not a DevOps operation engineer, need not to know about the development. So it is your choice which role you picks up or which one. So as I said, like there will be a primary skill for you. That is what you can say. Maybe your primary skill is operation where you don't need to the development, but have an idea how the development goes. That's all about it. The future of DevOps is, means I can say that a future is DevOps, not a future of DevOps. Everything is DevOps in the future. Everybody have to work on DevOps methodologies and to ensure that softwares are getting here and here basically. This company started implementing the performance testing and engineering process in the DevOps. I do say that engineering process has been done. Performance testing is still undergoing, Shastri, because performance testing is something which cannot be, I mean, it has to be done definitely, but it has to have a lot of automation in place. So people are working on it. It takes some time, but it will be there for sure. What is Jenkins in DevOps? So to implement a CI/CD pipeline, UMA, continuous integration and continuous delivery, we need a build automation servers. The Jenkins is called as a build automation server, which will help you to build a CI/CD pipeline. Once the feature is completed, we can deploy into production, but most of the features are dependent on one. In this case, how the DevOps will work. Wait a second. So you told that once the feature is completed, we can deploy into production, but most of the features are dependent on one. See, if there is a dependent features, we cannot deliver it to shop for sure. When I'm saying that whatever the features are deliverable, you have to deliver it immediately. That is what the meaning of this one basically. It's not that if a feature is developed, it's a dependent features has to be yet to be developed. Of course you have to wait for that, because without those things you cannot deliver it. But if it is deliverable within the same sprint, you have to deliver it immediately, right? That's what you can say it. Have you used or can you think DevOps as everyday projects, non-technical? Can you mention some example? So non-technical projects, DevOps, right? I don't think so. I use something, that maybe I'll try to find out some example for you, Nalishna, but it is there for sure. What is the difference between a DevOps executive and DevOps architect? Okay, that is more of a technical or theoretical question, Raj. May take some time, and there are a lot of things that you need to understand the dev roles differentiated to what role you work on basically. Architect is the one who designs everything end-to-end project lifecycle, and you think about executive is something kind of who is a business kind of a person who talks about the more of a theoretical part of it. I can see in that short, but that's all about it. So if yes, what measures you suggest concerning performance testing? Okay. So I'm saying that, right, we are at the stage where we have started beginning the DevOps process team. Yes, of course, everything falls in. People do talk about DevSecOps. Performance testing is coming to this one right now. So people are working towards it because we just started understanding DevOps that is bringing us the advantages. So we started one step at a time. We started focusing completely on delivery part right now, and then going forward we'll be discussing about performance, security, and all those things will be slowly brought in, because we cannot bring in, we cannot build a 10-store building in a single day, right? That's not possible. So you have to go start from the base, always put a basement, put a floor 1, second floor, third floor, and then you go for a row. So the DevOps is also like that, right? So of course we need to take every aspect in the life cycle to be considerable into the DevOps, but we started with a very basic process of building a basement right now for the DevOps, where we thought about collaborating everybody. That's a base part. And second thing is that, okay, the immediate thing that can be put as a first floor is that the deployment. So change the deployment strategy to deliver it immediately or whatever the possible way. Then you start building maybe a performance testing, security. So all things getting into the DevOps slowly. But that will be the future. There is a lot of future for DevOps to integrate most things into the DevOps, I call it. But this is what we call it, right? Now that's what I can tell you so far. So how much Python is required? If you don't know anything, it's not required, but having it will give you advantage sync. That is, having it is always an advantage, but if you do not need it, if you do not know already, I would suggest you to learn it, but it's not mandatory. Can DevOps be implemented for teams that are not pure developers, for example, engineering teams? Yes, of course, we can implement it, Abhinay, definitely. Right, so how can someone practice and have hands-on with the DevOps if the same is being followed? I think you got answered. Okay, so what are your view on the integration solution architect adopting the DevOps model? Okay, so integration solution architect, that's upskill. You can say that you already know about it. You already know much things about Chandan, so you just say that you upskill it and you understand more wider scope. That's all I can tell you. Does AWS, GCP, and Alibaba cloud provide the DevOps services? If so, they similar? Are they any better than the other one? See, DevOps is a process, John. Try to understand every cloud service provide their own DevOps process implementation methodology, right? The tool set may be changing from cloud to cloud, but the process remains same thing. The end goal remains same thing, right? So there is nothing better, but offering as a service, you put a lot of maintenance aside and you concentrate on working on your project delivery, right? So the cloud using or adopting a cloud methodology, cloud DevOps will make your efficiencies much better in a quick manner. That's what I can tell you. With 20 years of experience, where do you see a person getting a fit in DevOps kind of? I think you must be DevOps architect role mostly. If you have 20 years of experience, if you know end-to-end life cycle already, that's where you fit in mostly. That's what I can tell you, Paresh. So how are you? I'm doing great. Great. So is a place for project managers in here under the roles you had mentioned? Right. So I think you can say that maybe DevOps evangelist, where you can talk about it mostly the managerial activities goes in picture with the project managers, everything. Of course, a project manager is mandatory. So I'll say that if you're not a technical person, but you still need to have an idea about what is DevOps, so you'll be under the management area where it is evangelist. So being a DevOps, what technology should be more focused on to the solution a longer time in IT? Okay, so I do not say this one, but if based on the role and interest you are in right now, maybe focus on configuration management or infrastructure as a code and containerization. This is what I would suggest, Krishna. What is the difference between for a DevOps security engineer? There is not much difference. I think Mahagama. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but let's say the security engineer is securities everywhere. It's just that your roles and responsibilities are a little bit different than other roles. That's it, right? You are a normal security engineer only, but you just called as security a DevOps if you implement it for a DevOps project. Can you show us the basic minimum technologies required for each specific DevOps role? This will help us focusing those technologies. I think the team will send you a quick thing, Shastri, on it. We can send you a quick note on those things. Right now, I don't have it handy maybe, but I'll definitely give you a list where we can do it. We'll definitely show you that. Which testing automation tool is widely used in DevOps? Okay, it depends on the project. Maybe people talk about Selenium much. That's what I hear much. That's what people using. As a newbie to DevOps, in case of automation, what do you suggest to learn with? If you are a newbie completely on the DevOps, if you're not interested in the development side, start learning infrastructure as a code, right? That's what I suggested, and play for the containerization, right? So, okay, so how to enroll and what will be the covered? Please provide me the details. I think that is what provided to you. One question, does the code branching fail under DevOps ownership? DevOps developer ownership, right? Does code branching falls under the C? It's a DevOps ownership. Who is a DevOps here again, Raju? Try to understand, right? DevOps has various rules again. So DevOps developer branch will own that DevOps branching, code branching basically. Not as a quality engineer, not as an operation engineer, you may not hold it. So you need to understand your role, who owns what. Is the webinar being recorded? Yes, we will be sending the email, Praveen. We will be doing that. What tools a DevOps engineer must know? See, depends on your interest, Amardeep. Again, if you are interested in the developer side, again, you need to go for Python development. That's what I would suggest it. But if you are on the operations side, if you are a testing, go for Selenium. If you are operations, go for infrastructure as a code, such as Ansible or Terraform, and a cloud. That's what I would suggest. Can you show us a setup of DevOps projects, including, I think that is what is given answer to you already. Are you people covering a CompuWare, Topaz, SonarCube, okay, Topaz, Total Key, all these DevOps tools used in mainframe technologies? We are still looking for that, Usha. We need to check that. We are covering the basic things as a general DevOps right now. We need to look into more mainframe towards tools. I can tell you that is what I can see. Great, thank you. Right, so I think Deepak, if you are having anything, you can speak now. I'm sorry, I took over a lot of things, I believe.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Naresh. Appreciate your time and effort. And so if you guys are having any specific questions about the DevOps as a career path or anything related to certification, so I'll be the person who will be answering your questions. So please keep your questions pouring in, and I'll be happy to answer those questions. So I'm seeing a question, how can we enroll for this program? So yeah, so you can reach out to devopsuniversity.org, and there are many programs that are lined up, and you can go and enroll for those programs. And feel free to reach out to us on contact us at devopsuniversity.org. And here the screen is there where you can go to this link and enroll for this program. What tools a DevOps developer must know? So DevOps developer, so when we start with the DevOps developer, right? So we start with the um, source management like GitHub, and then we go into the code quality checks, and then we go into the Docker containerization, and then we go into the at some point of time we also focus on the security tools, and then probably for the monitoring tools and the configuration management tools. Yeah, so you'll get the recording of this session, as Naresh mentioned, that you'll get the recording of this session through email, and you can go through that recording. Yeah, so you can say so. The operation engineer, because AZ 900 is specific to Microsoft Azure, right? So here we take the platform as AWS, right? But it is more or less the same. And you rightly mentioned that operation engineer is someone who is similar way of working as solution architect. Also, I'm taking up this question again about this SonarLit and SonarCube CompuWare. So we are covering SonarCube here, right? And there are certain other quality code quality tools, right, which are specific to certain technologies and domains, right? But here we are covering the SonarCube, which is the most prominent in the market. Yeah, so if you talk about the technology, right, so DevOps is technology agnostic. So as there is a slide in there, right, so it is independent of the technology or any of the domain, right? So it's like a fuel in the car now. DevOps is something that is going to be a future culture that everybody has to adopt. So it doesn't matter which technology you are from. That's why the topic and the caption of this webinar was DevOps for all. It is for everyone. All right, so I have experience in testing so far. I would like to switch my career path to DevOps operations and security. Um, I would not suggest that until unless you are having an interest in operations and security, because testing is something that is going beyond everything in automation world, right? So you should focus more on the automation area, and our team can help you out in doing some kind of career counseling. But testing automation is having a lot of scope, and that is coming up very, very fast in future. Yeah, so is DevOps fits to specific industry or segment? As the media OTT industry focus more in stability and new feature for sure, but stability takes front seat. As you mentioned earlier, right? So it is not anything that is related to specific industry, right? So wherever there is IT, so first of all, we need to understand that DevOps is not something that is very, very technology oriented and very tool specific. It is something, whichever way we can increase our deliverables faster to production, right? Whatever area it could be. So the basic idea behind DevOps is that we need to make sure that whatever we are doing, we are uh, being very agile, and we are passing the product as soon as possible to the customer. So that is the basic idea behind DevOps. Does AWS, GCP, and Alibaba Cloud provide DevOps services? If so, are they similar, any better than the other? Right. So, yeah, definitely. So this AWS, GCP, Azure, all are cloud providers, cloud services providers. They are having their own DevOps versions, right? But we, as in DevOps University, are teaching the generic DevOps model, where whichever tools that are prominent in the market. So when whatever the knowledge that you receive here, so that can be applied anywhere. It is just a difference in the cloud platform and the tools that they are using. So whenever whatever the idea that you are having on the one platform, that can be replicated on the other platforms as well. Is there a place for project managers is here under the roles you had mentioned in the presentation? Yeah, so for the project manager, right? So if you talk about the industry, right? So industry is now going into the transformational journey as a technical managers, right? So everybody is having a place. Project manager plays a very, very important role, where they need to understand about the complete DevOps life cycle, how exactly the complete SDLC life cycle works from the starting till it is getting delivered into the production. So for a project manager, we are defining this DevOps executive or DevOps evangelist are the two programs that are very important for them to take up. Yeah, so for the postgraduate degree, that's we are getting tied up with a couple of universities here in India and abroad, right? So with them, we are going to provide the postgraduate program. So that is going to be from 6 months to 9 months, and it is going to be very, very aggressive in terms of boot camp kind of program, where you'll have the complete hands-on sessions. And we believe and ensure that if you are having those postgraduate program, then if you go for the interview, you will definitely get selected, because it's very, very aggressive program, and it is going to cover the complete nuances about DevOps for a particular domain and technology. Can a BA becomes DevOps operation engineer? Definitely yes. What are your views for the integration solution architect adapting to? So as I mentioned, right? So solution architect, being a developer, being a tester,
Yeah, so Deepak got disconnected due to some power failure. So what are your views for the integration solution architect adapting to DevOps model? What should be starting point up to to upskill? So for everyone, like those wanted to build their career or wanted to move their career to DevOps side, so they basically start with understanding the core concept of DevOps, like as Naresh explained in today's session. how basically DevOps works and what is the evolution of IT. You must have seen with DevOps, the automation, feedback loop, and the cloud. They are the three main ingredients that everyone should be having a good understanding about all those three. And to start with the DevOps, you have to learn some of the basic technologies like the source code management tool like Git, the content integration tool like Jenkins, and so many tools available in the market. Containerization tools, as everyone is moving towards microservices world, and the orchestration that is very much needed on the cloud environment when we are spinning up more containers based on the varying of the load like Kubernetes, and then the very important the monitoring tools like log monitoring tools, Splunk, infra monitoring tool like Negus, New Relic, Dynatrace. There are so many tools are available, so you can pick any of the area and you can start learning on those part. Okay, I am getting one more question. Okay, it's basically, can you show us DevOps course content for the batches you are planned? So, guys, I hope you can see my screen now. On the screen, the timing, link, everything is given. You can open our website, devopsuniversity.org. You will find all the required detail about the program, and you can write to us as well on our email ID, training@devopsuniversity.org, and you will get all the detail. We will help you out to explain all the details. Okay, next question is, I have short experience as a SCM engineer performing deployment in traditional model. Could you please let me know the skill needed to upskill myself as DevOps deployment engineer? So Vidura, for you, you must have good understanding about SCM tools like the Git in the distributed environment. I hope you must have used SVN or any other the single repository tool. But using the Git, you can get the expertise using the distributed system, as well as you must have the knowledge about Jenkins, so you can transform your SCM to till CI. CI means continuous integration. So once every developer is committing his code or her code, then the build got triggered. It will verify your build with running the unit test cases. You can set up integration test cases also along with it. So with every code check-in, developer will get the feedback right away if it's working fine or it's breaking anything. Uh, sure, sure, Anandi, I will share it. Okay, just give me a second. I'm getting few more questions. Let me scroll up. Right. Yeah. This webinar is being recorded, and after the session, we'll be sharing the recordings over the email, so you can access all the recorded session. Sure. Okay. Any other question, guys? Feel free to ask. Perfect. I hope everyone is good. So guys, we are coming up with our very reputed program, workshop on Certified DevOps Foundation. And we will be having two batches. One is morning IST 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. and the other batch is 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. IST. And both the batches on the weekends only. And the dates are 5th, starting from 5th December, 6th December, and the next week, 12th and 13th December. Okay, I'm getting one more question. Okay, this question is coming up. Are you people are covering CompuWare, Topaz, SonarLate, SonarCube, CompuWare ISPW, CompuWare Topaz, total testing, all these DevOps tools used in mainframe technologies? Yeah, so basically for the mainframe technologies, we are using all the common tools, all the open source tool like the Git, Jenkins, SonarCube, and for Yes, so like the CompuWare and the Topaz, they are basically licensed softwares. Unfortunately, SonarCube is not providing any community version. The computer not providing any community version for conducting the sessions. We are in touch with them if they can give us some licenses for conducting the training. For that, definitely very soon we'll be coming up DevOps for mainframe engineers, specific to mainframe engineers. But our this workshop, the foundation workshop, covers all the aspects of the DevOps. Oh, okay, Mridula is saying, since it's a workshop, do we need any tool installed on our laptop? Yeah, Mridula, for that we will be conducting entire workshop over the AWS cloud. And for that cloud, you can install, we'll be helping you out, we'll be helping step by step to install all the softwares on your cloud machine. We will not be installing any software on your local laptop. I hope I am able to answer your question. So guys, I hope you have seen the dates and timing for the upcoming workshop. Our certification is also worldwide accepted, and it's being these are some of the companies listed where, like, it's basically very well accepted. Okay, one more question I'm getting. Will you cover Terraform as well? Yes, for the foundation program, we are not covering Terraform, but for advanced program, we are covering Terraform as well. And in the next month, in December month webinar, we will be coming up webinar on Terraform. So please stay tuned and please follow our website so you will get all the required information about our upcoming programs. Thank you guys. Thanks for joining the session. Please feel free to write us training@devopsministry.org. For any of the question, whatever questions you have, we will love to help you out. We will love to answer all your questions. Thank you very much. Thank you.